welcome to my chat in my live stream. I'm going to be painting today some dogs playing poker. It's a private commission, so it's going to be going for someone, so it's not for sale. I'm using acrylic paint, but for now, I'm just going to go ahead and get started, and we'll just go there. I really don't do a lot of chatting, to be honest, so if I don't respond to your chats, it's because I'm focused. That makes sense. So, that being said, go ahead and get some things going. Yes.
Um, so my what's the door open? Where's the door open?
That's some fresh air. What's that?
So teacher told us that she has to go for testing, and also but the only problem is, why do they keep happening to me?
Because you're biting your fingernails. It's normal. Your cuticles grow and dead skin forms, and you have to bite it off. Or you can use the nail clippers. Do you have independent work to do?
I mean, so I'll do right at the usual time that we get out of school, and like I'll just go to 5 sentence long paragraph.
I'm ready to start painting. So I have a light source here. I actually plan on painting some type of light. Let's see if I can just see. I need a reference. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and look up a reference real quick for a light. I want to use like a classic, like Pizza Hut kind of. What are those called? Lamps? No, not a lamp.
Mom,
Yes.
I'm watching your live too.
Oh, thank you. Let's go with more like a classic Pizza Hut. Do you have work to do, Mr. Cameron? Light fixture, that's what we call it. Light fixture. So, let's see. I got a few options. This one actually looks really nice. Now I'm just searching for a reference for my light. Let's look at images. Want to have a good reference. I usually, well, I guess what these were called. I usually go use references when I do artwork because it's called a bucket hat or a timpani lamp. Hmm. It just makes it easier when I'm trying to decide which shapes I'm going to use. And also, okay, how do I, okay, I don't know how to get this to move. Okay, go away. There we go. Let's see what it's called here. Don't want to use that reference. Um, let's look at vintage ceiling lamp. They're called timpani lamps, I guess. But I'm looking for something that we can picture in like a casino or some type of. Oh, I found this one. A billiards room, billiard light. There we go. I'm not going to make it exact. However, I do want it to kind of resemble, like maybe like an old school type of a vibe. Like if you were to go in like a billiards room, you would see above the pool table some of those like lamps, overhead lamps or something. So let's go ahead and look and see. what we can find. Hmm, this looks good, but I really for something else. I can always change the color. Oh, it's for $900. Good thing I'm not purchasing these because some of these are very expensive. The cheapest one I found was like 400. Oh, that was 3,000. And of course, y'all can't really see my screen, but I am looking for a reference so I can paint right here. I do have a reference in mind, but I kind of like to have the picture to look at. Let's see. These are not really what I'm looking for. Let me type in another word. Let's see. Vintage billiards light. Let's look at that. Oh, that's better. Kind of like these way better. Because I'm going for more like a squared look for my billiards table. Mm, this one's actually pretty cool. I like it. Probably just go with it. So I'm tired of looking. And it needs to be about that big, maybe. And so what I'm gonna probably do is go ahead and get started and just start making some shapes like that. So let's see. Kind of like this one better. I like this one. Maybe I can take some of the stuff off of it. Yeah, this would be cool. Oops, too much. Okay. There we go. Okay, I got my reference ready. I'm ready to go. So, with this painting, I really want to try to capture, let's see here, the like 90s vibe, if that makes sense. Trying to go with like a 90s kind of vibe. And you might see my cat in the background because he's over there trying to jump in the window. Say hi, Eddie. And my window open today, so yeah, he might be coming in and out. Got my coffee. So this is the space. Try to picture how big I want it. And also I gotta leave in some space for like maybe the chain link because it does have like a chain link. That's not the reference I want. There we go. That's better. Okay, first we're gonna start with getting some paints ready. A lot of times I use this like little container. Got it from Amazon. It pops right off. I love it. And I have this water bottle spray kind of thing. It's cool. And I just, fill it with water, just plain water from your sink. Spray your palette. And this helps your paints stay dry longer. And I'm kind of running low on white paint, so that's going to be fun today. Dealing with that. Okay. I do have some mixing whites. That'd be fine. I can use that. You know, I really don't like the mixing white because it's not white. But we don't really use white that often, so we'll be alright. We'll be alright. Now, this has some green in it. So I'm definitely going to need some green paint. Almost has like a copper look. I'm going to need more green paint too because my billiard table is also green. Definitely will be getting more paint soon. And you can always make your own paints using like the mixing method or whatever they call it. I'm no artist, teacher, whatever. So I don't really know technical terms, but I know what to do. So we'll just do it. Right now I'm just trying to get some paints together, fill up my palette with different paints that I might need. Oh, my knee hurts. Hit my knee earlier. That went on. Let's keep going. Okay. Right now I don't have any music playing, but that's fine. Let's see here. If I can even get music to play, it'll be alright. Let's go ahead and start mixing some colors. Kind of want to use some of this, like a raw sienna color. I paint a lot, so I'm running out of a lot of my colors. Alright, so I have this little mixing brush. It's like a spatula. I like to use it to really get some of my colors to mix. Have some of this. Grab a little bit of that. And this is a mixing white, so it does brighten it, but it's not white. So it's not really pigmented with white, but it does lighten it up. Let's mix in our yellow with this Serena color, because I don't really want it yellow. I want it to be kind of like almost a nude color. Might mix in some white here. And a lot of this yellowness I can use for some of the dogs in my painting. And right now I'm just kind of just mixing all the colors like a little water. One, it's good to get keep moisture in your paint. That way they don't dry too quickly. And two, gives it more of like a softer application that's so dry. And you want to make sure you're mixing it really well. And when you need to switch colors, make sure you're wiping it with like a little water and a little towel. I move this out the way. And whenever I'm done mixing, I like to make sure I spray it with water. Like you probably want to spray with water every 15 minutes. I got a few colors mixed in, so it looks like I'll be able to get started with painting this. I kind of want to tape it off. Sometimes it's helpful to tape off like sections that you don't want painted. Let me see if I can get some tape real quick. I did recently run out of tape the other day. Maybe I have some more here. No tape. I did find some more acrylic paint. So we'll be all right. We'll keep going. Okay, I'm going to make sure I am keeping my palette lit. Okay. Turn this light. Yeah, I can see a little better, even though I don't think anyone's watching. That's fine. I'm not sure how to zoom in. It doesn't let me zoom in. So I guess we'll just go with what we can. Let's see. Pull it closer. I do have a reference that I'm going to be using. There we go. Eddie, are you back, Eddie? He's back there. There's his tail. Eddie, he's going through my window. The hardest part is just getting started. So I try to want to find my center and let's see, like right between them. Let's go ahead and start by drawing like a little bit of this chain link. So it has like two chain links. I'm not really worried about symmetry. And I'm using like this dark brown kind of look. So I like to use my darkest color first. That way I can kind of like capture the outline first. I really don't like to outline my work. Let's see here. I use just the natural colors to separate. And I'm gonna give it like a kind of like a rounded look. And just keeping in mind, the shapes, the placement. These are kind of like two brush strokes long. And I have like this little rounded tip on my brush because I really want to capture like this round shape. And even though it's a dark color right now, in the center, I'll add some white. That way I can save or preserve this outline. You'll see when I get to that point. And then I'm leaving this last little edge here a little bit like halfway because I want it to look like it's bending. Okay, got the top part. And I'm going to try to make like this little band here. And this is where the light will be meeting like the lamp part. And then when you're painting, you gotta use your imagination. You gotta like pretend to see what you're doing. And a lot of times I just use the darker color first to give me a good outline. So let's pull this out a little. And then I'm going to kind of draw this little diagonal kind of part on my lamp. And then it kind of has like this small little band here. I'm gonna make sure I capture that. Okay, it's already looking like a lamp. And do a little bit of this kind of squaring off here, slanted. And then it has like this kind of like goes straight down. Just like that. Now this part I don't really want to fill in too much because I want to leave it a little transparent. And so I'm going to start with the center. And it kind of goes like little loops until you get to the edge. be the best, but it works. And once we add like all the colors and stuff, you'll see it. Bring it closer, that would be awesome. And do the same thing going in the opposite direction. Like this little. Okay, now we got like this little base going on. It's time to start like filling it in. I do need it to dry a little bit, but while it's drying, go ahead and mix in some green with a little bit of this blue color I have because I don't want it super green. I want it to be like with a little bit of blue. Because this is more like a warm green. I want it to be like a cool green. Because we're cool. A little bit of white. I think this is a good color. A little bit more green. Okay. And this is going to be my band here. And of course, I'm using my darkest shade of green that I want on here. So I'm going to brighten it up once the light source kind of dries to give it like an illumination. I'll be able to add brighter greens and some yellows. So right now I'm just trying to capture blocking in some of these colors. And I'm not really worried about being perfect. One, it's not realistic to be perfect. Two, it's an artwork. You want it to feel organic. Yes, sir. How can I help you?
Do you think I could play Orange Computer for a few minutes
Why do you need to play his computer?
because well I'm bored and also no one needs another bath.
Why?
He's dirty again.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do all your work?
Let me go check.
You can see here I'm applying some color onto the top. Now that this part has dried, I want to be able to capture like some of this shapes here. And I'm using my kind of like this black brown color as an outline. And this is just making shapes. We're just making shapes, so don't feel like, it has to be perfect right here. We're making shapes. We're understanding where we want our colors to be, what color they want to be. And a lot of times this stage is about identifying what you don't want it to look like, if that makes sense. Like you don't want this like smeary look. So you'll have to apply more paint, especially when you use cheaper paints like I do. My paints are not expensive at all. So sometimes it takes a few layers. I do have some paints that I spend a little extra money on. Those run out quickly because I use them the most. But cheap paints still work. And especially with acrylic paints, A few layers is always helpful. And I'm still using this kind of like a khaki color. And this is, again, my darkest color that I plan on using.
Yeah, I'm done. Well, I can't finish my exit ticket for math because it's not letting me in to do it.
Did she say when she'll open it up?
No, just we have to wait.
Hmm. And it's okay if we go over the line because we can always, add some more paint and kind of fix it. So right now, I'm going to add this part here. Excuse me. And it kind of lines up with this like a square. And you want to think about how it lays on the lamp. So let's do this. And they do line up with these little bumps over here. And like I said, it's okay if it's not perfect. We're not looking for perfect. We're just looking to get our shapes established. Once we got our shapes established, we can add details. But first, we need to actually get some tone and some shapes established. That way, we kind of know what we're doing. And this one is starting to get a little slanted. And we want to keep like this little straight line almost. And that way, it gives it the appearance of it like getting wider towards the bottom. And this one, I just need just the tiniest little exposure. That way, you can see it kind of rounding. And it's already starting to take shape so far. I like it. Once we add all the glitz and glamour, you'll see how my method works. So a lot of times we just always start with our darkest color. It's easier to add a lighter shade on top of a darker color. One, it makes it feel more realistic. And two, it's kind of like the order of things. You always want to make sure you paint your shadows first and then you save your highlights for last. Like your absolute last. And try not to use white in the beginning. And so that is starting to take some shape. Doesn't look 100% straight though. Let me see if I can fix my easel. Because I kind of don't want it so high up. That's a little better. Okay. So since I'm working right here, I want to try to keep this like at an eye point of view and explain it. Yeah. And then these are going to be a lot brighter later. And so we're going to go ahead and get some of this color down. And this is like a glass lamp, so we do want to allow some space for some transparency. It's not going to look exactly like my reference, but it's art, and I'm going to capture the likeness of this object. I'm not really looking for hyperrealism. I'm just looking to capture the likeness. So we got the likeness part down. Speaking of, are you hungry, Cameron?
Yeah.
You're hungry.
I think we'll have some fleas.
Okay.
I just took one off.
I'm adding a brighter shade of green to really get this like a illusion of roundness. So when something's round, it's darker on the sides and it's brighter in the center. We're thinking of like in school when we would look at our art teachers, like little shapes and how cones and circles, they have like this roundness. And each time you get closer, you want to leave just a little less to where it's just barely any light paint. I'll do the same here, just the tiniest bit of paint. And it's okay if you paint a little more. You can always go back with a darker green, maybe mix it with a little bit of like a black or gray or even a little blue.
But wouldn't that mess up the colors a bit?
Well,
Oh wait, that's black. That's why.
you're adding color to it to make it darker. You
Mm.
kind of want this to kind of have like a small, like a tilt on the side.
Do you think I could try with the thing shading?
You want to try shading?
Yeah.
And I just cleaned off my brush and I'm using just water, a very little amount of water
Just more.
to capture
Just more.
this.
A bottle. A water bottle.
A water bottle.
Water. Water bottle. Bottle water. Bottle water.
Okay, you can use
A bottle water.
this paintbrush and you're going to do like this. Just enough to give it like a appearance of glass.
Okay.
Cameron is going to give it a try and try to keep it in the center. Wow, very good. Very gently try to stay in the lines. Good job. You see how the center has to have these little reflections. So I'm going to grab a little bit more white, give it just the tiniest little captures of light. Right in the center. Now, we don't want them to be perfect because it is light, but we do want to try to capture this like reflective ambiance. And like I said, it's okay if we paint over. All right, and before I stop, because I know Cameron's hungry, I'm going to spray my paint with water. And I love this little palette because it comes with its own lid. And it secures my paint. Now over here I have my little paint bucket, and it fits perfectly in it. Just like that. And it secures it. So if you give me a few moments, I'll be right back. And I'll see you in a few moments. Let's see what it says. Oh, I could share my screen, huh? Cool. Let's see. We're going to share in a window. Hmm, cool. You might be able to share the audio too. Nice and red. You can see what I'm painting. I'm painting this. Okay. Oops. So that's what I'm painting here. Let me get Cameron some food. I'll be right back. Give me 2 minutes. Go ahead and get your coffee ready. Use the restroom. Cam, you want some cereal? Cam?
Yeah, I did more than post today. Way more than 5. I'm 16. You gotta have to writing all my paragraphs in one.
Okay, I'm back. Let's see here. Got my chat going on here. Oh, Marlo said something. Not really going to be responding to chats because I like to focus. But, well, I'm here. Might as well start painting. And then, like I said, this is kind of what I plan on painting in this space here. If you're just coming in. Oh, we've already been live for 51 minutes. And this is also a good indicator, too, that of like try to help me keep track of how long I've been painting, because sometimes I forget how long I've been painting. I want to try to listen to some music though. That way it's not so quiet. Okay. Thank you for coming for my live chat, my live stream. So while we're doing this, let me try to get us some type of music going. Mm-hmm. If I can just. Okay. I have like two different YouTube accounts. I don't want to go play music on one account and then it disturbs my live. So, not sure how all this works. But we'll figure it out. Kind of want to listen to something though besides music. But I think for now we'll just listen to some music. Usually I listen to like podcast, but Christian related podcast. I really don't like listening to much gossip. But sometimes it's good. So this is actually not what I wanted to listen to. And then from here we'll keep painting because I'm trying to paint this right here. Okay. I hear the squirrels outside. Can y'all hear the squirrels? I think it's so weird. Right now I'm listening to the song by Nicholas Pelosi. He actually received this song in a dream. And the dream was given to him by the Archangel Michael. It's a war song. So if demons appear and you start like repenting, I'm sorry, it's probably the song, but I love this song. It makes me cry. The Greek version is just awesome. Mm, 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 mm. And here I noticed that it has like a little bit of a darkness on the sides and some brighter shapes here. Let's go ahead and try to mimic some of that. Gonna add a brown, which is like old pink color. I'm gonna add a little yellow, make it more like a copperish kind of color. And a lot of these undercolors are dry, so they're not really mixing in with my paint. But I'm making a little, like kind of like a brownness. And I'm gonna take the brown that I have here, kind of give it like a gradation. And again, we just want to mimic what we see. Mimicking is the best way to learn. I don't know why people, stop mimicking once they stop being a baby. If that makes sense. It's like when you're a baby, you learn from your parents, you learn from people around you. But it seems like when we get older, we think we know it all. And to be honest, we don't know anything. We don't know anything at all. And so, in order to learn, we have to mimic what we see. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm mimicking what I see in my artwork. If I see something that looks like a highlighted area, you just work with it. We're very capable. A lot of us don't even realize how capable we are. And if you can observe the natural world, you can observe artwork and you can create just as easy as I can. I am not a trained professional in any way. All I do is I see art, I see real life, and I try to match it the best way I can. Whether that means painting exactly what I see, like in a reference from a picture, or mimicking what I know. I know how lighting kind of affects things because I studied light. If that makes sense. I study sometimes where my light sources are coming from, just in real life. A lot of times I'll just sit and kind of mindlessly looking at different things in real life. But it's not really mindlessly if I'm intent on what I'm doing with what I'm looking at. So a lot of time I'll look at things to understand it as lighting. I often stare at people in real life because I'm a portrait artist as well. So in real life, I might stare at people and understand, what makes their shapes on their face them. And that's the best way to learn. What makes these shapes that person? Especially with portraits, real life kind of artwork. You want to look at what makes those shapes. Why are those shapes making sense? And how can you make those shapes make sense to you? Because a lot of time when we make shapes, we just think of like our basics: circles, squares, triangles. But there's a lot of shapes in the face. There's a lot of shapes in real life. And the better you are at identifying what shapes they are and why those shapes exist, the better it is for your artwork. like just understanding where my light's coming from, how much light is being placed or distributed, being distributed, and in what direction it's being cast, distributed. What direction? I think that looks really good so far. We got a lot covered here. While the paint's still wet, I want to go in with some white and kind of smear it in there. And create these like little shapes because it is reflecting. And each time I get a little further out, I want it to get darker. Just a little darker. So I might add some of these little shapes here. But the point of art is to experiment. Experiment, express, continue. That's life. We don't have all the answers. But with a little experiment, you'll soon figure out what works and what don't. And that in itself is an answer. What doesn't work is sometimes better than what does. Even though you might fit in or it might work, doesn't necessarily mean that it belongs. And do a little bit of this light. Because it's art. So I do want to try to capture some reflection, some little like details that makes it feel like it's glass. By just adding these little shapes. And then if you notice I went in the opposite direction with my stroke this time because I wanted to feel like it's coming this like center. So even just adding those little highlights can help pick up some things that you want to be displayed. Or like texture. If you want it to feel a certain way, you would add your texture. Like let's say if we're doing fur, we want it to be less reflective, a little more texturized. Since this is glass, I want less texture, but more focus on like the smoothness, the reflectiveness of the light. It looks like we're getting a lot of this covered very quickly. And already we got this like appearance of a reflection. And we're going to do the same here. Add a little bit of this reflective trickery I'm trying to achieve. And in real life, reflections aren't like perfect. Sometimes the glare it comes from a certain direction. Especially when your light source is coming from the center. Yes, sweetheart, how can I help you? What?
Just seems like you were done.
Same thing I always do.
Are you are you still live?
Yes. Thank you for checking. Okay, we got a lot of that captured. And then this looks like it's the really dark. I'm going back over with some of my darker tone to really give the illusion of a bend. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but like a bend, curve. And we're not worried about being perfect. We're just worried about expressing what we want to in our art. If we want to express something a little more playful or something a little more realistic, I've been on this thing where I want to capture more expressive side of my art. So by leaving some brush strokes, leaving some unfinished areas, it really gives it more of like an illusion of art, like your interpretation of what you're seeing. It doesn't have to be exact. And I know a lot of people are like, well, that doesn't match. That's not symmetric. 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 That's okay. If it's not perfect, it's okay with a little lopsided or uneven. Artwork is not meant to be perfect, just meant to express yourself. So we got in here. Going back over this band. Work on this part here. Again, some more paint. I'm just gonna blend it right in, making like these little L shape kind of one. I'm trying to capture the direction of my light. While it's still wet, I'm kind of blending it in with the paint I just applied a few seconds ago. It's like a lighter teal kind of green. And I'm blending it in with this darker green. Now, this tutorial is not meant for you to follow along. It's only a demonstration of what I'm currently doing. If you're interested, you must do it yourself. Little grasshopper. Okay, gonna go back over at the top. And I really don't outline much. But I'm just gonna go back over some of these areas that I kind of painted over. And really give it some definition. And sometimes when I feel my paint getting dry and it's not workable, I spray a little water and keep going. Remember, with acrylic paint, you need to keep it wet or else it dries very quickly. You got like a minute. If it's cheaper paint, you got like 30 seconds to work with it before it dries. So I definitely suggest getting you a wet palette. It doesn't necessarily have to be what I have, but get you like a container with a lid, clip it upside down, and apply your paint on the lid and use the container part to cover it. That for me was what I've been using prior to getting this for my birthday last year. And it's very helpful to have a wet palette. And I'm just going over these little details, trying to capture as much as I can. And each time I apply paint, it's getting a little more straight. And then we slant it going the opposite direction. I'm not worried about perfection at this point, just establishing definition. But you do want to be careful because I am making straight lines. You want to be careful what direction your lines are going, how far out you're pulling your lines, moving your hand in the right direction. Pull this all the way down here on both sides. And it looks like this actually has a little bit of a break as well. We'll paint those in one by one. This stage of detailing is very important. One, precision. It shows how precise you are, how much you're paying attention to your reference, but also it's important for steadiness. One little hiccup in some of these lines, and it's very noticeable. So like I said, nothing is supposed to be perfect. So don't you feel like, oh, I messed up. This is not perfect. See, I picked up some white there. That's okay. I'll just get some darker brown, mix it in, and fix it. It's fine. And then this little part down here has like some triangle looking shape. So we can try to mimic those. But again, we're not really focused on realism. Just want to kind of look like it. And it looks like it gives it some interesting shapes and textures. So let's do our best to try to capture it. And if we don't do the best job, it's okay. We're just expressing ourselves at this point and allowing mistakes and hiccups. And always make sure you're paying attention to how much paint you loaded on your brush. And how big your shapes are. pretty good. It's not perfect. And like I said, that is okay. Art's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to express you. Got a little roundness there. And we're going to do the same here. Just defining our lines. Kind of messed up there, but it's fine. Mm-hmm. And you just go over as many times as you need till you get an desired look. Come over here and touch some of these areas up that I can overpaint. I'm just looking at my reference, understanding like where the light's reflecting, things like that. Too much paint there. And it's okay if you have too much paint on your brush. Just wipe it off and try to work it in. It's okay if you overpaint some places. We're not looking for perfection. Just looking to have fun and enjoy it. And again, we're keeping our center the brightest point. Making a little bit of a reflection here on some of the lower triangles. Give it the illusion that we're trying to achieve. It's not the best, but it will do. I'm going to take some of my, like a blue, baby blue color. Try my best to match this blue in a brighter shade. You can do that. It's going to underline some of this area. Give it the illusion of a brighter center point. That will help create some shadow. And take my bigger brush. I'm just going to pull it down. Add a little bit more paint. I'm using like an angled brush, so it's going to help give the appearance of like fanning out. I want it to feel like my light source is coming from the center. I'm just going to keep pulling that down. I don't really like this brush right now. This one's a little bit more fanny. And since I'm working right here, I don't really have my artwork anchored. That's why I really needed to hold this right here. Sometimes I spray it. You have to be careful though, because if other things are wet, it's going to smear into the painting and bleed it through. So only in certain areas do you want to actually spray the canvas. You don't want to spray it on too often. And I am painting over my characters, which I'm not really too worried about. But it is getting hard to see them. I can kind of see already where I have to repaint over my characters. It's fine. Yeah.
Are you still live streaming?
Yes. Why?
Oh, can you post the live stream for a minute?
Why? What do you mean?
Uh, when's the cat see it?
Oh, that's right. It did tell it.
Mm.
Again?
Yeah,
Where?
in the living room.
Oh gosh. Thank you. We've been live for a while now. I have to clean up some things. So I'll probably pause here and we'll just continue in a little bit. That way I can clean up some things and get situated here. Thank you for watching. Let's stop sharing my screen. Okay. And let's go ahead and end the stream here. I'll come back maybe later on today and finish up the painting once I start painting some of the dogs. But this looks really good so far. I'm really happy with it. And again, thank you for watching, and I hope you follow me on Instagram, Art by Miss Crystal. Have a good one.